While the House of Ideas' roster of heroes and villains may not be as famous for its martial artists as DC, with it lacking the likes of Batman or Black Canary, there are still several notable fighters that stand out amongst the gods, monsters, and hulks under the publisher's belt. From the likes of the immortal Iron Fist to the star-spangled man with a plan, Captain America, there are plenty of hand-to-hand combatants from every corner of the Marvel Universe, each of which manage to stand alongside and up against those with magic hammers or infinity gauntlets. Though, out of said fighters, who comes out on top as the most skilled? Who are the master tacticians, the martial arts masters, and expert combatants of the Marvel mythos? Being a good fighter tends to be in the job description if you're a hero or a villain, but there are those in the Marvel Universe who are better at it than others. That isn't to say that they're more powerful, of course. There are plenty of characters with ridiculously strong abilities, just that they're incredibly skilled when it comes to combat. So, with those rules established, I'm Ewan from What Culture Comics, and here are the 10 most skilled fighters in the Marvel Universe. Number 10, Black Panther. King T'Challa of Wakanda has a lot more to do than most monarchs, and by that I mean he serves a purpose. Yes, I'm throwing shade at the Queen. Get me, don't get cut on that edge. Wakanda has a long and storied history of fending off invaders and colonizers, and naturally that's meant that whoever is Black Panther at a given time has to be a master warrior, strategist, and leader. T'Challa, son of T'Chaka, is no exception. Now, all Panthers consume the heart-shaped herb and are thus given some special abilities, including a resistance to magic and just generally awesome stuff like enhanced strength, speed, and agility. Factor that in with T'Challa's tactical nous and his mastery of hand-to-hand combat, and you have one of the most skilled fighters in the Marvel Universe. Heck, just go ahead and ask Namor how he feels about the last time he got stuck on the wrong end of Black Panther. It wasn't pretty. Number 9, Karnak. Being arguably one of the most unique Inhumans, Karnak possesses the power to see the weak points of any structure, person, or creature that he crosses paths with. Such an ability makes him incredibly deadly, with him being able to take down almost any opponent with a few swift strikes to certain points. Now, obviously this power does not grant him skill, though it's not as though Karnak is lacking in that regard. The Inhuman is a master-level martial artist and has a brilliant mind which makes him as good a tactician as he is at kicking and punching. These features show that Karnak is much more than his powers, with his combat expertise and tactics meaning that he is incredibly skilled regardless of the abilities he was granted by the Terrigen Mists. Those powers just make him even deadlier. Number 8, Black Widow. In terms of her fighting ability, Black Widow could be considered quite underrated. Thanks to the MCU, Romanoff has been shown to primarily rely on guns and tasers to take down her opponents, but a skill in hand-to-hand combat is not to be underestimated. Having been trained since childhood to be the ultimate assassin, the character has been granted some of the best tutelage available from a very, very young age, meaning that, while she may not have been taught by the masters of Kunlun, Widow is at peak fighting ability, with or without any firearms. This has been shown on multiple occasions, such as how the hero has been able to take down the likes of Captain America or Spider-Man with relative ease. Number 7, Taskmaster. Taskmaster is one of those villains that seems to be far more deadly than he actually is. The character has the ability to mimic the moves of any he sees, meaning that he has the skills of those such as Spider-Man, Hawkeye, Captain America, and more under his belt, which makes his skill level very high indeed. And yet, despite this, Taskmaster always seems to be very easily defeated by those he fights, with even the Punisher being able to take the villain out of action with little trouble. Not to demean the skills of Frank Castle or anything either, it's just how it is. So basically, Taskmaster, while obviously very skilled, has not done much to demonstrate said skill over the years, and as such it would be unfair to rank him any higher than this, even though his powers on their own do qualify him as being super skilled. Number 6, Mantis. Mantis's inclusion here might surprise those only familiar with the character from the MCU, but she's something of a badass when it comes to the comics. Like Karnak, Mantis has the ability to detect the weak points in all her enemies. Combine that with a mastery of alien martial arts, and you're left with one of the fiercest fighters in the Marvel Universe. She is so fearsome, in fact, that she legit laid the smackdown on both Captain America and the God of Thunder himself, Thor. Taking down Steve Rogers is no small feat, but neither is dealing with the Odinson either. It's why seeing Mantis be portrayed as such a passive figure in the films is so bizarre, as there are a wealth of occasions where she's exhibited the fact she's in the top tier of Marvel's fighters. Look, all I'm saying is that I want to see Pom Clemente one-punch Thor in Guardians 3. Like, out of nowhere. Drax can have a big laugh about it or something. Number 5, Moondragon. Moondragon is another of those characters who is destined for amazing things in the future. Heather Douglas is a bona fide badass and one who, naturally, is an incredible fighter. Moondragon trained under Shao Lom's Titanian monks, and while it is her telekinetic and psionic abilities that tend to be focused on more than anything else, there's no overestimating her skills as a hand-to-hand combatant. She even managed to beat Mantis hand-to-hand, and if she managed to best Cap and Thor, you know she's going to be strong AF. Number 4, Daredevil. Daredevil is largely considered to be one of the best street-level fighters in the Marvel Universe, and also he's my fave Marvel hero, so hey, bias incoming. The teachings he received from the Warrior Stick made him deadly from an early age, and since then he's only become more and more skilled. Need any proof? The man without fear has gone toe-to-toe with the best and worst Marvel has to offer, including standing in the way of the Hulk when he was barreling through Hell's Kitchen. Daredevil has also fought off the most skilled combatants out there, whether that be the ninjas of the hand or the Dark Elves during War of the Realms. The latter he fought with Heimdall's own sword, by the way, during which time he was known as the God without fear. Hell yes, this is so good, hook it to my veins. His abilities as a fighter are enhanced by his radar sensors, which allow him to react to the exact movements of his opponents and counter them accordingly. Along with these powers, Daredevil's most potent ability is perhaps his ability to always get back up. Forget Captain America's "I can do this all day" mantra. Daredevil truly is the superhero with the most indomitable will, as even when he has no allies, resources, and is half dead, Murdock will keep going, a trait that almost tops his skill as a combatant. Also, stick a bad guy in a hallway and he's toast. Dead. Finito. In fact, just don't even bother. You see the man without fear barreling down a hallway with intent, you run, even if you're Thanos himself. Number 3, Elektra. Having received very similar tutelage to that of Daredevil, with her having also been taught by Stick, Elektra is obviously as skilled as her sometimes lover. Though, it is the training that she received under the villainous hand that put the character just a hair higher than Murdock, as it is this training that made her an even deadlier warrior. This additional training has allowed Nachios to best even those such as Wolverine, who, I need not remind you, has an incredibly effective healing factor that makes it hard to make a dent in the character, let alone stop him in his tracks. And when fighting Iron Fist, Elektra was only stopped when Rand actually used his powers, meaning that Elektra would have likely defeated him had they stuck simply to hand-to-hand combat, which is rather impressive considering Rand's skill. Number 2, ShangChi. As shown by just how many of the characters on this list were trained from a young age, ShangChi's training by his father, Fu Manchu, and other instructors from birth really paid off, making him into the formidable warrior he is depicted as today. He's only a stone's throw away from mixing it with the Avengers on the big screen, and given how the team are short a few hand-to-hand specialists thanks to the departures of Cap and Black Widow, his presence is definitely needed. Most of the time, the character lacks powers of any kind and simply relies on his usually unmatched skills to dispatch anyone who gets in his way. Recently, the hero actually gained the ability to create duplicates of himself, an ability that really elevates the character's innate skills by how it effectively allows Shang-Chi to create an army of people that share his skills and expertise, a truly frightening prospect for his enemies. But, as stated earlier, it is truly Shang-Chi's mastery of the martial arts that puts him at such a high rank. They don't just hand out the title Master of Kung Fu for nothing. And number 1, Iron Fist. Yes, the immortal Iron Fist has managed to triumph as the most skilled fighter in the Marvel Universe over Shang-Chi. Here's how. While not trained from birth, Danny Rand received his training from the best possible teachers, those being the masters of Kunlun. Those teachers had been turning men into warriors for centuries before Reed ever entered the Holy City, meaning that the hero was given lessons by the most experienced and talented martial artists in the history of the Marvel Universe. To even claim the power and title of Iron Fist, Rand had to fight a dragon bare-handed, a feat that most other characters will probably never achieve. All of this training and all of these trials meant that Rand had become a living weapon by the time he returned to America, his skills being proven again and again over the years. He's even been able to defeat the Master of Kung Fu with ease on multiple occasions. Yeah, I know, him going repeatedly, "I am the Iron Fist" in his Netflix shows is the most tedious thing on the planet. Thank God the Defenders showed Daredevil beating the snot out of him, but hey, there's no arguing with history, at least when it comes to comics. But, like, for the record, the Pirate Queen Iron Fist is much better, just saying. And that was our list. Who's your favorite fighter in the Marvel Universe? Let us know down in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Remember, you can find more stuff like this over on whatculture.com/comics every day of the week, and tune into my BS on the reg via Twitter @EwanRuinsThings. Much love to you all, and remember, keep reading comics.